In the 17th century, one incredible African queen took on the full might of the Portuguese Empire. Through sheer force of will, brilliant diplomacy, and just flat-out military genius, she absolutely refused to be conquered and ended up forging a nation. Her name was Njinga Mbandi.
Now, to really understand her, we're not going to start at the beginning. Instead, we're jumping right into a moment of incredible tension, a moment that truly defines who she was. So, picture this. The scene is the Portuguese colonial capital in what is now Angola. The Kingdom of Ndongo is literally fighting for its survival against relentless Portuguese expansion and their devastating slave raids. The stakes could not be any higher.
Okay, so the Portuguese governor, João Correia de Souza, is sitting in the only chair in the entire room, and he offers the diplomat from Ndongo a man on the floor. Now, this isn't about comfort, right? This is a calculated insult, a total power play to establish colonial dominance before a single word of the treaty is even spoken.
So think about it for a second. Put yourself in that position. What do? Do you protest? Do you accept the insult and sit on the floor? Your people's entire future hangs on this negotiation, and your opponent just tried to frame you as an inferior. The diplomat, a woman named Njinga Mbandi, had an answer. Her response was just genius. A single silent action that completely dismantled the governor's power play. She didn't raise her voice. She just signaled to one of her attendants, who got on all fours to become her human throne. The message was crystal clear. We are equals, and Ndongo will not be subjugated.
So who was this brilliant woman? To understand that, we got to go back to her origins.
Her life was almost over before it even began. Her very name, coming from the word to twist, became a testament to her destiny. It's like it foreshadowed a life that would be spent navigating and turning these incredibly complex, life-threatening situations to her advantage.
And get this, a prophecy was given at her birth, but it was pretty much dismissed. Sure, her father was the king, but in the Kingdom of Ndongo, it was highly unusual for a woman to rule, so it really seemed like her path to power was blocked from the very start.
This crucible of personal tragedy is what forged her. She wasn't just some royal born into power. She was a survivor of the most brutal family politics imaginable. And that experience gave her a resilience, a ruthlessness even, that she would absolutely need when her own brother, failing to deal with the Portuguese, was forced to turn to the one person he had wronged so terribly for help.
The peace she negotiated was sadly very short-lived. After her brother died in 1624, Njinga became queen. But Portugal betrayed their treaty, and that sparked a war that would define her reign and last for over 3 decades.
Just look at this timeline. It shows the sheer tenacity of her struggle. This wasn't a single battle. We're talking about a lifetime of resistance. She was a brilliant military strategist who personally led her armies into battle, even when she was in her 60s, constantly adapting her tactics and her alliances to fight a global superpower.
And here's where she just completely shattered the gender norms of her time. To get the same respect her male counterparts received, she dressed as a man in battle, took on the title of king, and even put women in high-ranking government and military positions. She was literally redefining what it meant to be a ruler.
So you're probably wondering, how did she manage to resist an entire empire for that long? Well, her brilliance wasn't just in warfare, it was in state building and in diplomacy.
So when the Portuguese forced her out of her own homeland and put a puppet on her throne, she didn't just retreat. No way. She went right next door, conquered the neighboring kingdom of Matamba, a place that actually had a history of female leaders, and she created a brand new, fortified power base to continue her fight.
And this was one of her most effective strategies. She turned her kingdom into a safe haven for runaway slaves and for soldiers who were defecting from the Portuguese. This was a total masterstroke. It simultaneously weakened her enemy's labor force and military while building her own powerful, fiercely loyal army.
She was playing European powers against each other, forging a key alliance with the Dutch, who were rivals of the Portuguese. And with their help, she finally reclaimed her first kingdom, Ndongo. She had become the formidable queen of 2 kingdoms, an absolute powerhouse in Central Africa.
Njinga died peacefully in 1663, at the ripe old age of 81. But her legacy is, well, it's complex. It really reflects the harsh and incredibly difficult choices she had to make.
And this is the most challenging part of her story. On one hand, she was a liberator who fought tooth and nail to stop her people from being enslaved. But to finance that very war for freedom, she captured and sold others into the Portuguese slave trade. It was a brutal means to an end, in a desperate fight for her people's survival and sovereignty.
Today, she's remembered as a national hero in Angola. That statue stands in the very city where she once faced down that colonial governor. She's revered not for the difficult compromises she was forced to make, but as this enduring symbol of resistance, of intelligence, and of the unyielding fight against colonial rule.
Her life was really a masterclass in leadership under truly impossible circumstances. But it leaves us with a really difficult question, doesn't it? In the face of annihilation, what compromises are acceptable? What is the true price of a people's freedom? That's definitely something worth thinking about.